Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, after there was no Hell's Kitchen. After all, in fact, there won't be any Hell's Kitchen next week either. So, this is another thing that I hate about holidays is that, they make it so that you can't even get to watch your favorite shows. Like, isn't that a strange, mindset? Like, I would understand if they were filming these shows live, but Hell's Kitchen was, filmed, a year ago or more, and so, what's the deal with, not playing these great shows around the holiday time? Like, you'd think that around the holiday time that you'd play these shows, because everyone's at home celebrating the holidays and they want to watch their favorite shows, right? Well, no, for some reason, no, we take a break so we don't get to watch our favorite shows. Isn't that strange? That's something that's good about Halloween. Say what you will about Halloween, if you're a fucking weirdo who doesn't like Halloween, but, shows can release around Halloween. And then that'll be the Halloween episode. And it's really enjoyable and nice. And it's really cool. Even though the Chucky episode was terrible, at least we got an episode of TV around Halloween and we didn't have to wait a week for some reason. It's just so stupid. I don't know when that trend started. Was that an old people thing back in the 30s? They were oh, we don't want those types of shows to air around our precious holidays. Let's play them after. Is it some weird shit like that? Where it's oh no, it's Christmas, and so we can't play anything like Hell's Kitchen around Christmas. Ooh. I don't understand that thing. But anyways, that's off topic. I just had to address it because yesterday, at the end of my second video, I was see you guys tonight for Hell's Kitchen. And it was yeah, fuck you, Marco. No Hell's Kitchen for you. Because it's the holiday time. Yay. Stupid. And they get 2 weeks off, too. What's the deal with the 2 weeks off? I would understand taking a week off next week, I guess, even though they're not doing it live, so there's not really any actual reason for them to take a break. But why this week as well? Christmas Eve is this week, but it's not Christmas. So, I don't get that at all. So anyways, I am here to review the movie that I was going to review on my birthday. I'm kind of glad that I didn't because it's not that great, and it's kind of I don't know what they were thinking with this movie. The movie that I'm talking about is Shampoo. I thought that this would be a home run review for my birthday since it's a movie based on one of my past lives. And so I thought it would be very good to watch that and to, see if it would bring up any memories for me and it would cause me to remember anything, but it didn't. And it's because the movie's not really truthful. I mean, the movie's a very, very, I don't know what it is. That's the thing. I look at this movie and it's just a giant question mark. I guess I could infer that Warren Beatty, because, he was friends with him, the guy that this movie's based off of. One of them. I guess it was two people that it was based off of, but the main one, he was supposedly friends with him. And I just can't really see that from this movie, because after watching this movie, it really just feels like this guy is a really low character, and that a couple years after his friend's death, he makes this crappy movie where it's the whole movie's against him, and the whole movie's saying that he's kind of a shallow loser guy who this character in this movie, George Roundy, he's really not likable at all. And it's just really odd that, like, this guy was supposedly your friend, and you make this movie that's, like, just bashing him for 2 hours. It's really weird. I don't think this movie's... It's got some good things about it. Like, it's not totally terrible. But I'm just left thinking, like, out of all the things you could have done to, like, pay tribute to him, you make this piece of crap movie, and it has a terrible ending too, and yeah, disappointing. So this character, because essentially this movie's like a character study, where you have this guy, and he's a master hairdresser. He works at this salon, but he really wants to have his own salon, so he's trying to get funding. And at the same time, he's juggling chicks, and so he's sleeping with this one girl named Jill, played by Goldie Hawn, and then he's sleeping with this one woman named Felicia, and she's married to this character who becomes, like, prominent in the movie because he wants to get funding from him for his salon. And it's ironic since, you know, he's sleeping with his wife. And then also, he's sleeping with this other woman, and I can't even remember her name because she was such a trash character. Really, I guess, like, there was really no likable character by the end of this movie. Like, everyone did something shitty by the end of this movie. So, like, even though they're painting George as bad, all the other characters were kind of trash too. You know, it was like it's like a swinging 60s type of movie where they're breaking down movie taboos and things, and it's like, ugh. I mean, seriously, like, and I just get the feeling that, like, Warren Beatty is a real scumbag from watching this movie. Like, I've never had any memories of him that have been triggered, but he really seems to be like a scum of the earth type of person to make this movie. Because, like, out of all the things you could have done, this is what you choose to do. And I'll just say this too, I'm going to make my own film, because I think that would be the most appropriate thing. And I really hope that it will finally be a good one, because after watching this movie, another thing that's really disappointing about this movie is the fact that it's called Shampoo. And I used to be really attracted to this movie for some reason, and, you know, now we know why. But I used to be really, like, I don't know, just kind of interested in this movie because it's called Shampoo. And just thinking about, like, it's so cool that, like, a movie's called Shampoo. Like, it's such a great movie title, and it's such a disappointment that, you know, with the movie that we ended up getting, it's like this kind of lame piece of trash that's got, like, some good points to it, but that's about it. You know, so yeah, he's sleeping with these girls. He's trying to get funding. It's a little bit like Uncut Gems at the beginning, because there's this part where he's working at the hair salon, and, you know, he hardly cuts any hair in the movie, too. That's another thing. It's like, you couldn't have at least, like, learned a little bit, like, how to cut hair so that you could, like, cut one person's hair at least on screen. Like, you're just doing this, like, showboat thing where you're blow drying hair as you're combing it, and you're kind of pretending to clip. Like, that's fucking gay. That's fucking lame and trash. Like, you couldn't have at least learned, like, 101 how to cut hair, like how to cut, like, an easy, like, haircut that you could have done, like just a quick trim or something. Like, you couldn't have at least done that. Like, really? Like, it was really that hard? Like, what was the objective of this movie? Because it seems like the objective was, like, oh, I knew this guy who was, like, a hair guy, and so, like, oh, yeah, we could do, like, a movie, and I could just make money off of him after he's dead. It doesn't really seem like there was a great idea here to latch on to make a movie about. And so I'm just going to go through some notes and then get to my food review. I'm kind of mad that I even spent $3 for this movie to rent it, because I couldn't find it on archive.org. I couldn't find it on Dailymotion. I couldn't find it on any special website like YouTube. I had to actually pay for this movie to rent it. And when I have to pay for something and it's bad, I'm going to be a lot more negative to it than a movie that was good and I paid for it. Or a movie that was bad and I didn't pay for it. So at one point they have like this party scene. And by the way, like, Warren Beatty acts like he's retarded in this movie. Like, he just acts like he's got this, like, weird face that he keeps on making the whole movie. Like, he's like, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't understand, like, what was he thinking making this movie? Like, what was he thinking acting like this when he made this movie? And, like, he just acts like an idiot, a Nimrod, a doofless, a dipshit, a douchebag. And he just comes off like more along the lines of, instead of like saying anything bad about the person that he inspired this movie off of, it really comes across as the movie, like that he comes across as the character in the movie, instead of like, you know what I mean? Like, it more so like speaks on his character, because they said in the trivia that he was actually like sleeping with Goldie Hawn and the main actress at the same time. So he was doing the same thing that he did in the movie in real life. And then he's like criticizing his old friend for doing that. Like, it's bizarre. It's like beyond like hypocritical. It's really strange. So they're at this party, and I'm not kidding you guys when I say that completely out of nowhere, the principal from Leave It to Beaver randomly shows up at the party. Like, out of all the actors and actresses, like, the principal from Leave It to Beaver, you know, Mrs. Oh shit, I forgot her name. Oh, that's gonna eat at me the whole day. I can't remember the Leave It to Beaver principal's name, because, you know, she's very recognizable, but she literally just randomly shows up at this party out of nowhere. She just appears like a spirit or something. It's really hilarious. Like, it's just, this movie's so badly made. It's like, come on, like, does anyone even write a script anymore in the 70s? Like, you know, it's kind of pathetic. Like, you know, she shows up and she introduces this guy, and this guy stands in the middle of this party and sings Indian songs. So, like, you know, like Indian songs like, you know, something like that. Like, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what kind of fucking party is this here? Like, this is a weird party. And he's not an actual Indian. He's a white guy. And, you know, he's not even doing a good job at singing these songs. It's just really weird. You take a shot every time I say weird in this fucking review, because this movie fucking deserves it. And then this character, I'm stirring up my breakfast, by the way. Needs a little stirring. One of the characters that he's sleeping with, she gets really drunk and she makes a fool out of herself. And she tells this other guy at this table that she wants nothing more than to suck off the main character. And then she goes underneath the table and tries giving him a BJ. And it's like, this movie was a little bit like Californication too. like with moments like that. And then there was another part of the movie where, they're really trying to paint this guy as like the worst person in the world because he does something that I'll tell you guys, I would never do this. I would never have done this at all. George Roundy, because it's clearly not the real person, but George Roundy, he sleeps with Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher is like randomly in the movie as the daughter of the main love interest. And I think it's like one of her earlier movies. Or no, actually it's not. Or wait, is it? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm not very familiar with her filmography except for Star Wars, obviously. Unfortunately, She shows up in the movie, though, and it's really funny because she comes into the movie, and the first thing that she does is she keeps on offering all these food items to the main character. And one of the things that she offers him is chopped liver. She's like, hey, would you like some chopped liver? Like, what the hell? Like, he's... like, chopped liver is like one of the worst foods on the planet. Like, it's just one of the most stereotypical, because, you think of the saying, what am I, chopped liver? Like, that's a saying because of how bad that food is and how no one likes that food. But that's one of the first things that she offers him is chopped liver. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's like, you want to have sex with me? And then he does. He has sex with his love interest's daughter, and then the love interest shows up home, and she finds him, and then she takes him into her bedroom, and she sleeps with him too. So he sleeps with this woman's daughter, and then her mom comes home, and he sleeps with her mom too in another room. It's like, I would never do that at all. I don't know what they were thinking with putting that in the movie. That was very disturbing. I would either sleep with one or the other. I wouldn't sleep with both. And then there's this part in the movie, because I'm just going through these notes, because hardly anything happens in this movie. It's just like randomly, like, just shit happens, and then the movie's over. Like, there's really hardly any story at all, except for he needs funding, and he's sleeping with chicks, and he's juggling them, and it gets increasingly more difficult. And then at the end, they kind of paint him as a bad guy, and so he doesn't get any girl, which I'll talk about. So he says at one point, this is one of the funniest parts of the movie, too. He says, I had a dream. And in this scene, too, he was kind of like Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder. The way that he was talking, like, Ben Stiller's character, the way that he was, like, so over the top. But he's like, I had a dream that I was 50 years old, and I went to the hair salon, and I saw Jill. And it's like, what the hell is this? Like, that's your dream, and, like, you're upset about it. And then he's like, I can't imagine being with Jill at 50 years old, but I can't imagine not being with you when I'm 50 years old. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what was up with that? And then there's this certain point where he's sleeping with one at this party, and then Goldie Hawn, Jill, she shows up at this party. And by the way, let me just say this too, because if I was the character in this movie, and if I was transplanted into this movie, I would choose Jill, and then I would throw the other ones to the side of the road, okay? Like, Goldie Hawn's character is the only person that's interesting in this movie at all. Like, she's the only one who's worth going after, so, that's another thing. But the main character, he gets caught by Jill. And so he runs after his love interests like they're missions in a video game. Like, he's like, oh shit, I gotta run after Goldie Hawn. and then he can't get to her, and he's like, oh shit, now I gotta go run after the other one. And I was like, this is like a video game a little bit, the way he's just running after these love interests, and very silly and stupid. And so this is the ultimate mindfuck, though, is that Jill is going to go to Egypt to make a movie with this director guy. And she gets mad that he cheated on her. But I'm not kidding you guys, that hours after she gets so mad and heartbroken that he cheated on her, guess what she does? She hooks up with the director. Like hours later, mere hours after she's mad that her boyfriend cheated on her, she hooks up with the director and decides to be with him. And I was like, that is insanely hypocritical and shitty. And now I don't like her character either. So there's no character to like in this movie at all. And then she has a talk with him, and this is where they paint his character more of like as if he's like a bad person. And he goes into this like unapologetic like monologue about how he's like, this is probably one of the best movie quotes in history, but for all the wrong reasons. He's like, let's face it, I fucked them all. That's all I do. That's why I went to beauty school. And it's like, oh my god, like this guy, he is just like a total like douchebag who just like sleeps with everyone. He's like, I can't help it. I like to cut their hair, and then I like to sleep with them too, because, you know, they feel really good after they get their hair cut. And it's like, it's really strange. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I fucked them all. That's why I went to beauty school. Like, and the main love interest too, like I couldn't understand like why this character was so obsessed with Felicia, whose husband is I'll talk about the husband next, but you know, I couldn't understand why he was so obsessed with her, because she looked like Barbara Streisand but a little bit different, you know, like she looked like Barbara Streisand but like a little bit prettier and a little bit different, because her voice isn't annoying like Barbara Streisand's. But they have this whole scene where he goes to her house to talk to her, and then he says that like she doesn't want to be in the same house as he is because, you know, the husband found out as well about what happened. He caught them sleeping with each other. And so he chases her outside, another chase sequence, and she drives up to this cliff that just so happens to face her house, and he chases her on a motorcycle, and then he meets up with her, and she announces that her boyfriend, it was actually her boyfriend, not her husband, he asked her to marry him, and they're going on a vacation too. And so she rejects him, and it's just so mind-boggling, because the guy that she's going to marry is like 30 years older than her, and he's the grandfather from Problem Child. You know, if you've ever seen Problem Child, which is a very good movie. And so I was really just like confused as to what was the point of this movie other than to bash this guy and make this kind of shallow, comedic, like silly, weird movie that like doesn't really pay tribute as much as it does like just bash this person. You know, the main character, he was using his dick so much, I thought it was going to fall off at one point in the movie. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, because I was like, something interesting has to happen somewhere, and I thought like, at one point, he's going to be in the middle of, you know, doing the business, and all of a sudden, he's going to look down, and his dick's going to fall off, and the woman's going to be like, oh my god, your dick fell off. Like, I thought, like, that would be pretty funny and interesting, but No, instead, he just gets rejected at the end. So at the end of the movie, he doesn't have anyone. He has his right hand and his scissors that he uses to cut hair and his blow dryer. You know? So, terrible, 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 terrible. And so this boyfriend character, the grandfather from the Problem Child movies, he's gonna give the hair cutter funding. So the whole movie, like, they're kind of getting to know each other and talking to each other, and, you know, while he's sleeping with his girlfriend. And then at the end of the movie, the grandfather, he still gives the main character funding. But basically, so it's like the main character, he gets funding for his hair salon, but he doesn't get the girl. That's kind of like the little trade-off that he gets at the end of the movie. And as well, the grandfather character, I guess he's like the villain of the movie, even though they paint the main character as the villain. But like the grandfather, his hair looked terrible, I think on purpose. And then his character, you know, back before the man who this movie was inspired off of, back before he was so prominent and so popular, men did not like to wash their hair because men thought that washing their hair was gay. And men thought that going to the salon to get your hair cut was gay. So men would, like, they would have terrible looking hair before this man came around to change everything. And so this main character, he actually says that he doesn't wash his hair, and his hair looks it looks awful. It looks like it just looks like he's not even trying. I mean, it just looks like a pile of crap on his head. And so I did think that was one of the nice touches of the movie, was that the main, like, kind of villainous character, his hair is terrible and everything. Like, that is something that I appreciated. But other than that, like, I can't ever see watching this movie again. It would have been kind of perfect for my birthday, though, because for the food review, I am going to give it the lunch that I had on my birthday. Well, not the full lunch, because the movie doesn't deserve that. But on my birthday, I thought, what would I like to have? And I thought, there's nothing that I'd like more than having some nice Buffalo Wild Wings, some nice spicy wings, or some sweet wings. And so I got my favorite flavor, or I guess my second favorite flavor, honey barbecue. Like, honey barbecue, teriyaki, and Caribbean jerk are like my top three. And then I also like other flavors, but not as much. So I got honey barbecue wings, and then I also got fries, because it was like a deal where you get all three together. And then I also got this new flavor that they have called Saucy Gardner Sauce. And apparently it's some sort of an athlete, and he wanted to have a flavor of wings. And so it's kind of like smoky, spicy, barbecue-y flavor. And so I wanted to try that, you know, because why not? Like, even though it's my birthday and I want to, you know, enjoy my food and not have like a shitty lunch, I wanted to, like, try it and see if it was good. And obviously I got boneless, because I don't like, I kind of like traditional wings too, but I don't like having to go to the trouble of getting my hands all messy and everything a lot of the time. I like to just stick my fork in there and dip my wing in ranch dressing and chow down. And so this movie, the thing is, though, is that with these wings, they put the wrong wings in the wrong box. That was the funny thing. They put the honey barbecue wings in the box that was marked that it was the new sauce. and then they put the saucy sauce in the box that was marked honey barbecue. So the movie that I thought that it was going to be was the saucy sauce box. No, I'm getting confused. The movie that I thought this was going to be was the honey barbecue box, and it was not. It was something completely different. But the movie that it ended up turning out to be was the saucy sauce box, and that had the honey barbecue wings in them. Because the thing is that the honey barbecue wings were not very good this time around. They hardly put any honey barbecue sauce on them at all. They put maybe a tablespoon of sauce for all 5 wings. So, it was really not very good on that side. I didn't even eat all the wings. But then on the other side, on the movie that I thought it was going to be, these wings were drenched in sauce. I ate all of them, and they tasted really good. I gotta say, the saucy sauce is actually pretty damn good. It's a pretty good new flavor. And then I got 2 ranch dressings, just to make sure that I wouldn't run out of ranch to dip the wings in. And then the fries were very good too. And so that's what I thought of this movie, which it is a little bit better of a review than the movie even deserves. I would recommend staying away from this movie and waiting for the one that I'm going to make, because that would obviously be the one that is worthwhile and not this piece of crap. I mean, the only thing that you could say about this movie is that Goldie Hawn looks good in it, and then, if you're a Carrie Fisher fan, then, there's that, and then if you're a weirdo and you're a fan of Warren dipshit Beatty, then, you want to complete your collection of his crappy movies, then, obviously watch this movie. But other than that, there's no reason to seek this movie out. Stay far away from it. So please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of the movie. Because I know that, some people on IMDb, they talked about how the movie broke down, taboos in movies, and, because it has all this sex and stuff in it. And it's that part's cool. That's kind of cool, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't change the fact that the movie's a piece of crap. So, and then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.